I don't know if you're recording it or there you go. Now we are.
All righty. So, hello everybody. This is Ricardo and Carlos Salguero. Ricardo's in Florida. I'm here in Denver. It's snowing outside, and of course, it's not snowing in Florida. And
Sunshine State, man.
it's a beautiful day. We are very, very happy to welcome a special guest to our channel tonight, Dr. Charmaine Johnson from Premier Smile Center. And Doctor, it's a privilege to have you tonight. This channel was built with really our passion to share the stories of entrepreneurs like yourself to other people around the world, to anybody that wants to be in business for themselves or is in its journey to be in business for themselves. And it's kind of a passion project for both Ricardo and I, because my dad was an entrepreneur of very humble beginnings. And, you know, he passed away earlier this year. And we figured out the best way to honor him is to really add value to other people that might be in the journey, might already be in the grind of being a business owner. And I think the best way to help them is to bring stories and value from people like yourself that have a very successful business. So welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us. Please, Ricardo, if you want to kind of tell us a little bit more about our doctor tonight, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Of course. So, you know, I met Charmaine maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You know, our kids go to the same school, and you know, she's been my family's dentist for a good 3 years now. You know, amazing dentist. You know, I was telling your husband today that, you know, you brought my wife his smile to life. You know, she is so thankful for that. You know, she used to be a little bit self-conscious on her smile, and you know, you did an amazing job, and she's even a model in your website now, you know, and she's forever thankful. I mean, and she gets mad at me all the time because, you know, she flosses perfectly and she does all these things perfectly, and she gets problems with her teeth all the time, and I don't do much. I'm horrible at it. Yeah, that's the thing. She always yells at me that I should floss more and everything. But I guess I was born with good teeth, so that was good. You know, actually, my brother and my sister, they both had braces, and I didn't have braces. My teeth were all straight and everything. So I used to say that they made me with love.
Yeah. You didn't have to suffer through everything.
Yeah. So, you know, Dr. Johnson, she owns this great practice dentistry in Fort Lauderdale. I'll let her talk about herself as well. But you know, I met her, and what struck me the most about her is that she's always looking to give back, and that's something that is near and dear to my heart. And to be honest, she invited me to this fundraiser. This fundraiser, actually, we interviewed Joanne a few weeks ago, and it was for the Spring of Hope. And you know, she kept inviting me every time the fundraiser, and I was like, oh, another fundraiser, man. and you know, I kept saying, you know, and or not even. I just didn't show up, you know. And then one day, my wife is like, she's invited us for like 3 years now, man. We gotta show up. You know, and we show up, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that sparked a huge change in my life. You know, I literally, we showed up last year, and you know, saw the amazing work that you're doing just out of the kindness of your heart with the Spring of Hope, and fell in love with the foundation. Now I'm part of the board of advisors. We did the fundraiser together a couple weeks ago, and you know, so we're good friends now, and you know, I'm trying to get her kids to train in this partner with us. So you know, it's all good, great things. So you know, thank you for allowing us to do this, and you know, you have an amazing family, and tell us a little bit about yourself, you know?
So, you know, thank you for doing this. I mean, I think this is a great thing that you guys are doing, because you're trying to just get word out there and get to help other people as well, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? Just trying to help other people, not just in our professions, but in any. Yeah. So I am originally from South Africa, as you can see from the accent. And I moved here about 22, 23 years ago. I came because, you know, my husband got an opportunity to come and train in the US.
Okay.
And we literally left in 3 months.
Train for what? What
So
does he have to do?
he is an anesthesiologist. So we both finished, he finished medical school in South Africa.
Okay.
And I finished dental school in South Africa. And we were dating for 5 years, had no intention of getting married anytime soon. Had an opportunity to interview in a program in the US, and he was offered a position in their program within a week. So he came back to South Africa, and he said, okay, so I have this opportunity. What are we going to do? So we got married within 4 months, moved from South Africa to the US, and he started his program. For me, I didn't even know what I could do here. I was a dentist there. I had worked for about a couple of years. Coming here, I didn't realize you had to do exams, you had to retrain, all of this stuff. So actually for the first year, I couldn't work. So I volunteered at the animal shelter. I planted tulips in the parks and worked for the parks board for free.
I mean, you're a busy lady, so that's gonna be hard for 1 year doing nothing.
Oh, it's terrible. And after that 1 year, he said to me, you gotta go work. You gotta go do something. We're gonna get divorced if you don't do something. Yep, so that's what happened. And then I was lucky because I got into a residency program in Chicago. And that was it. I did my 2 years of residency. I got my license there. And 5 years later, after he finished his program, we moved down here to Florida.
Awesome.
Just for the weather. We have some family down here. So we wanted to move down to where we had some family.
Smart move.
Yeah,
I don't
regret it because I'm sure you're suffering in Denver there.
Oh, yeah.
We think, with my wife, we think about it every single winter. And we're like, man, we gotta move, at least for the winter, we gotta move. And by the time that you make up your mind, the summer comes around and it's beautiful here in the summer, right? And we don't wanna go to Florida anymore because it's too hot.
Yeah, well, this is the time when we say to you, hey, you know what? We're in t-shirts and shorts at 75.
Yes. I'll be there soon. I'll be there on the first weekend in December. So I'll be enjoying a little bit of that.
I roped him in to do the Spartan race coming up.
Oh, wow.
So he's gotta come to it, and you know, I always reassure him live, you know, on each interview, so he can back out.
As we get closer to the time, you're gonna do it more often.
Exactly.
It's so public now, doctor, that you know it will be a public shaming if I were back out of the races now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So you were able to get all your credentials back into place to practice, and how did the business come around?
So it's interesting because, you know, when I was doing the residency, I ended up doing an MBA at the same time. Because I wasn't sure that I could actually practice dentistry here in the US. So I figured I've got to do something else. So I figured maybe if I do something business related, I can work for Colgate or one of these companies that would be related to dentistry. And so that's when I realized that as much as we are trained as dentists to do the clinical dentistry, we are not trained at all on how to run the business.
Right.
And even doing the MBA, it kind of taught me basics about accounting and basics about management and things like that. And then when I moved down here to Florida, I worked for a couple of practices just to kind of get my feeling. And then I purchased the practice 12, 13 years ago, 2005, here in Fort Lauderdale. And that's how it all started. But it was a struggle because even at that point in time, you know, when as a clinician, all you're thinking about is the clinical dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
And the business part of it goes to the wayside until you realize, oh my God, I got to make some money and do something out of this to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And that's how the business side came about.
And that's a great point because, you know, starting a business or actually managing a business, it's completely different than doing, you know, being a dentist or being a doctor. I mean, it's, you know, I actually own part of a gym, and that's, you know, the most common thing that why gyms fail is because of that. It's like, you know, people do it out of their passion, and they're like, you know, I'm into fitness, I'm a trainer, I'm gonna start a gym. and you know, and managing a business are completely different things, you know, and as you know, it's not easy. You know, you want to do your passion, which is, you know, dental work and you know, help people and stuff, but then you gotta work with employees, you gotta pay bills, you gotta work with marketing, you gotta work with people not doing what they say they're gonna do. It's
for sure.
It's everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the business part I think is harder than the clinical part.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, after you've done it for a while, the clinical part is just second nature.
Yes.
So you do that with almost like doing it with your eyes closed. But the business part is always evolving.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you took over the practice, you purchased the practice. What were your struggles? I mean, what were the things that were challenging for you, basically taking over this business and starting your own?
Well, staff issues are a big thing. You know, staff issues is because when I took it over, I had one receptionist, one dental assistant, and that was it. So I also had inherited staff from the previous dentist. So they had loyalties and systems they were used to from the previous dentist.
Mm-hmm.
So changing that over and trying to kind of convert your way to something that they could understand was very difficult.
Yeah.
And then also realizing that it's not just about doing the dentistry, it's about making sure you're collecting on the bills, that patients are accepting the treatment, even though you feel like they should naturally because it's getting them healthy, and why wouldn't anybody do that? You know, that's kind of how you would think. The patient doesn't understand that, and they just see it as the dollar that they have to spend.
Yes.
And they don't see the value necessarily, unless they're coming in with pain.
And you're in a tough industry because, I mean, you're selling something that historically is just people refuse to it. You know, I mean, I think we all have that little bit of trauma when we were kids of hearing that, you know, hearing that drill, like, you know, so it's like, it's natural that people go away from it. Like, and like you're saying, unless they're in pain, they forget about it.
Exactly.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, my teeth are fine until they're not.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to tell them something that's outside of the pain they're experiencing, it's hard to convert them to understand what's going on and why they have to pay a certain dollar amount to actually do it.
Yeah.
I think that's a big struggle. Staff issues, having people convert and do the treatment they need was another issue.
And how important is it for you to have staff that has empathy with the customer, right? Because I bet that, and I'll tell you something that happened funny, something that happened this just a couple of days ago. Our coach in our gym had not gone to the dentist for 9 years.
Wow.
Okay. And he chews tobacco on top of that. And of course he has a big inflammation. And from the time we got to the gym to the time we left, he had the appointment right after. He was, I mean, I could see how scared he was, how, you know, his mind was racing and thinking, and he was going from scared to angry and to upset and to, okay, it's going to be okay. So, I mean, it's a big thing for people. Just like some people have fear to the camera, right? And and fear to do interviews live. I mean, this guy was terrified. So, you know, I'm sure you see a lot of that. How do you guys handle that?
So, you know, that's a very good point, because it can't just come from the dentist, right? Because it has to come through the receptionist answering the phone and having some sort of empathy for the patient. It comes through to them walking through the door. The dental assistant kind of rubbing their shoulder if they're afraid, or when you're giving them the shot, just rubbing their shoulder, making them feel okay. Or if they notice that they're sitting in the chair and they're maybe looking a bit cold, offering them a blanket. That's a tough one, because I have found over the years that trying to teach cariness in staff members is very difficult. And the main thing is hiring the right staff, hiring somebody who you feel as you're interviewing with them that they have a good heart inside. And you can feel that it's not necessarily what they say, because a lot of them will say, oh yes, I care about people, because they know they're interviewing for a healthcare position. But I think the the biggest thing is the intuition you feel from the person, that they actually have a good heart inside, is the way that you find those caring people. And then when you put them on the position, you kind of just watch them interact with other staff members, because if they treat them other staff well and they care about them, then you know that they've got something in there that's going to care about the patient as well.
Yeah.
So, right.
And you do you know, you do something for vets, right? You do like once a year or something like that you help vets.
Right.
And you know, people come in for free dental work, right? The vets. And you know, vets are just something they're near and dear for my heart. You know, I volunteer with this organization, you know, Operation Enduring Warrior, and the other day I happened to show up that day, you know, that and there were dozens of people in here, you know, and I bet you some of these vets, I mean, especially the older ones, I mean, I'm sure they're terrified of this. I mean,
they are.
There are people that have been in Vietnam. I mean, you know, they've experienced crazy things, and I bet you that they're all here thinking, oh, this is gonna suck, and this is gonna be bad.
For sure. Yeah, but you know, that day was the most rewarding day for the entire office. And it's funny how the next day we kind of do a morning huddle and we recap from the day before. And I would say all the staff said, wouldn't it be nice if every day was like yesterday, which was the day we did that Freedom Day. And it was because everybody felt like they were giving back for a good cause, and they were just doing what they enjoyed doing, and they were doing it because people really appreciated it.
Yes.
So it was nice, because I think that's what it all boils down to.
Yeah, no, that's so special. You know, I wish that every business will understand the value of setting aside some time, some effort, some money even, to just give back to the community in any way they can. In this case, veterans and just people that, you know, might not otherwise get the help they need or be motivated to. So thanks so much for doing that. That's amazing.
Thank you, you know, to them, because like we say to them, they always come in and they're so appreciative, but we do it for them because they actually don't have any dental benefits through the VA unless they're completely disabled. And a lot of people don't even realize that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And they come in so appreciative, but it's, you know, we wouldn't have our freedoms here if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for me, it's interesting because I come from South Africa, so things are a little bit different here. And here in America, I mean, we're so fortunate.
Yeah.
We're given so much opportunity that as a foreigner, you recognize because you come from somewhere else.
Yes.
And then you also recognize how your safety is kind of a given. Coming from South Africa, where it's pretty unsafe and, you know, crime is so high, you take it for granted here because you can walk outside at night and you're relatively safe.
Yeah, and people forget about that. You know, we're all, the three of us, you know, the three of us come from another country, you know, and we've all made our businesses here, and we live here, and our kids were born here and everything. And yeah, people, it's crazy that people forget that they take that completely for granted, you know, completely for granted. And you know, we appreciate it way more. You know, and talking about what you were saying about giving back, and what my brother was saying about giving back, you know, the other day I read somewhere and said, you know, support your local business because, you know, Chase Bank is not going to sponsor your kid's baseball team.
Right.
You know, so that's people forget that too. You know, like local businesses we are that lifeblood of our community.
Right.
You know, and in, you know, large corporations, they don't really care wherever they are, wherever they're just there to make a dollar, you know.
For sure.
So yeah, no, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's great. We had a great time with it. It was fun.
That's
we
awesome.
were tired, we were exhausted, but it was fun. No,
yeah,
it was.
Yeah. So tell us, doctor, what's your specialty at your clinic? What do you guys are the best at?
We do everything. We're actually a multi-specialty practice. So I'm the dentist, general dentist. Then I have another dentist who also does the general dentistry. So basically everything from fillings to crowns to cleanings to basic stuff. But the things that we have specialists come in for are like implants, surgeries, root canals. Yes, I used to do my own root canals many years ago, 10 years ago, but I stopped doing that. So the things that I feel that a specialist is better able to provide, we have them coming to the office. Nice. And then we try and stay on top of things. So we do we have a lot of technology, innovation is a big thing for us. So we have a very low dose 3D CT scan that helps us determine 3D bone structure that we need for surgeries. We have a laser, which was it's actually the only FDA approved laser that regenerates bone and reattaches the tissue to the tooth. Wow. So, we try and stay abreast of the newer technology just because it makes things not only a lot easier for us, but it provides something that is different to the patients that will get them further along ultimate health, because that's really where we want to go. We really don't like doing work on patients that we don't have to do. We really want to see our patients in the hygienist department, just doing their cleanings and maintaining. So education is a big thing for us. So, our hygienists are trained to educate so that patients can maintain their teeth for life. That's our goal.
Nice.
And in terms of specialties, we try and cover everything under one roof. We're actually renovating the office and we're planning to put into action even IV sedation so that we can actually put people to sleep. Because as you say, people are so afraid. And because my husband's an anesthesiologist, it's kind of a natural thing. He might as well come and put them to sleep as well.
It's I have a funny story about that, because we're working together and the other day, we're sitting in your office with your husband, and reinvesting in your business and actually improving stuff on your business. It's your passion and it shows. Yeah. And your husband was telling me, man, she wanted to buy this laser, man, and I thought she wanted to it costs more than a Tesla. I thought she wanted a Tesla, but no, she's like super excited about this laser. and it just is your passion about doing something and improving your practice, and doing something completely different, because explaining to people about this super cool laser, it can be easy, and it's a new technology. People might not know about it, they're reluctant to use it, but that's what sets you apart from other businesses and other dental offices.
And it's cool because when you see the results on the patient, I mean, that case, we actually ended up getting the laser because I had a patient who I was going to take the tooth out. And so we thought we would fix something else in her mouth, like the whole mouth, we were going to get it disease-free. In the process of using the laser to get it disease-free, the tooth we were actually going to pull out, we regenerated the bone. And so now it's it's about 1.5 years down the road, she's kept that tooth.
That's amazing.
It's things like that make it worth it, that make it really just rewarding.
No, when people can keep their own natural teeth as opposed to getting pulled, that is something that they'll never forget, number one.
Right.
And in my opinion, that sets you apart from everybody else, because that will motivate me to go tell people about you and about your practice and about that you care. And I think in your industry, and any medical industry for that matter, referrals are huge. It's probably one of the biggest things that, really adds to your business day in, day out.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, still, even though we're working on some marketing stuff and things like that, patient referrals through other patients is still our biggest source of new patients.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and as long as people are happy, and you guys are very diligent about keeping up with your cleanings and keeping up with your appointments and stuff like that, and I mean, sometimes your stuff is like, you gotta come in, man. You gotta come in.
Sounds like you've experienced that.
I've seen it, and I'll be honest, I'm horrible about that, and they're like, I miss an appointment. It's like, you missed an appointment, man. We gotta get you in next week, and but that's caring, it's about doing it and teaching people that their dental health is up to them. Right. It's really up to them. It's a little bit like, I'm passionate about fitness, so it's a little bit like, a super poor diet you can't work out a super poor diet. Same thing, but I mean, you can be the best dentist in the world, but if people are not brushing their teeth and they're not flossing and they're not taking care of their teeth, I mean, you can't work miracles, you know. So
but you know, like the diet, you educated yourself about it.
Yes.
You researched and learned it. I feel the dentist's important job is to educate the patient.
Exactly.
Because you're right, the patient makes the ultimate decision whether they're going to do it or not. But if you educate them, then they will know why they need to do it. And so they will do it, because most people are generally going to try and do the best for themselves and be healthy. But most of the time, they just don't know why. And I think if you educate them, just like you did, you educated yourself, then half the battle's won, because they know what they have to do.
Oh, I started flossing just because, you know, I mean, you get at it, and I was not a flosser, man. I was not a flosser at all. And my wife and you and you know, the people that do your cleanings and stuff, and they're like, you gotta floss, you gotta floss, you know, and I'm like, man, I gotta floss, you know, and sure enough, since I started flossing regularly, you know, I haven't gotten any cavities, and you know,
it's stable.
Yeah, it's you know, so every time I come, and into, you know, every 6 months or so, I have my cleanings, and I come, and it's like, you know, you don't have any cavities, you're good, and I'm like, it's working.
Yeah, and then you see, then people don't think that we're trying to just get their money for the next thing we're trying to fix.
Yep.
Because you're keeping it maintained, right?
Yeah. No, and truly is one of those things that we can neglect for a few years and not feel it until it gets to a point where, you know, your gums start bleeding, you feel pain when you brush, you get sensitivity, you start getting cavities and things like that. So I think, you know, it's just such a beautiful thing that when people love themselves enough, and instead of connecting going to the dentist to, oh my God, they're going to drill my teeth and inflict me some pain, to, hey, I can be healthy for another 6 months. I can smile more. I can not have pain, not bleed, and all these things. So, hey, thank you for the education, because this is so very important. And I think it really comes down to even early on as children, you know, showing kids these basic good habits that, you know, hey, you should floss, you should brush your teeth very often, you should go to the dentist, and not associate the dentist with pain, because many times that's what happens, right?
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
It starts from when they're young.
Yes.
You know, we even say bring your child when they're 2 or 3 years old. Let them sit on your lap while you're having a cleaning done. Let them get familiar with the noise and the smells and the sounds and all of that stuff. You know, and then eventually they might want to sit in the chair. Then you can kind of brush their teeth for them, and then it's a fun thing. And then at some point in time, they want to do something, and you can clean their teeth.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, my wife is diligent about my kids brushing their teeth. And I mean, you know, I mean they can. I mean, hell or high water, man. Those teeth are getting brushed. I mean, even when, you know, she's traveling or she's at a dinner. I mean, she calls me, and the first thing is like, the brush the teeth. You know, the brush the teeth. And you know, I'm like, yes. You know, the brush the teeth. Don't worry.
Oh, that's cute. She probably does a better job than I do with my kids. Let me tell you, with my kids, I had to get them special tablets to suck on that made the plaque turn bright red, so that I could make them brush their teeth properly.
And you're a dentist. Imagine
and
that.
I'm the dentist. I know, right?
You know, and now there's resources. You know, there's that you know, the Sonic Care makes this the Sonic toothbrush for kids, but there's an app.
Yes.
You know, and the app is you know, the kids download the app, and the app actually comes in, and it actually guides them in a little thing how they should be brushing. And it's, you know, the avatar is like a tooth, you know, and you can dress it up however you want. But if you don't brush like 3 times a day and stuff, the tooth gets mad at you, and then, you know, you open it and it's like a game and stuff like that. So you know, then the kids get thinking, oh no, you know, I gotta, and they get little prices when after they do it for that time. Because what I've seen with my daughters, more than not brushing it, is like, you know, they get in the bathroom and they're like, time, you know, so they gotta learn to do it longer.
And the brush actually, or the app, tells you how long they'll be brushing for.
Yep,
that's amazing. That's gamification of kids brushing their teeth, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And while you were saying this, I was thinking, wow. And of course, our business mind goes places. And I was thinking, wow, what if a dentist would give a kid Roblox bucks or Minecraft bucks or only some of those bucks for brushing their teeth and going up to the appointments every 6 months, right?
Yes.
Then they'll be lining up. They'll be lining up.
Yeah, and you can even do it for teenagers. They can have Fortnite rewards.
Yeah.
They can buy things on the game.
Yeah.
We should do that. Oh my God. That would be the best thing.
Okay. Yeah. Now we have something to work on in the next few months. Look, we're gonna prototype it at your practice, and you're gonna be our partner. Nice. I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. No, and look, it shows that you love what you do, right? And I can tell it because you share the stories about your business and how you started it, and now so many years later, I was checking your reviews on Google, and they're spotless, right? And I can see that people love going to you, and it's one of those things where I feel like when you have a business like yourself, where you're taking care of people on a daily basis, you can make a difference in their life for that day. And when you were talking about people's smiles, and a great example is Ricardo's wife, my sister-in-law Kika, how even her self-confidence changed when she was able to again smile again and be happy. So tell us a little bit about a few of those clients that come your way and maybe come and they're a little bit, shy, or even their faces. I think sometimes they modify their smile so that they don't show teeth, right? Yeah. And then later on, those people, as you help them, what's that change in their lives? Tell us about that, because I think that's
amazing. It's amazing because, after they see the result afterwards, they're crying. They're literally crying with joy. One of them that stands out is she came to me. She was almost ready to retire, and she had spent her whole life taking care of her kids and her husband. And she obviously, as a mother, she had kind of left everything on the side for herself and sacrificed for her kids. And she got to the point where she felt like her teeth were loose and she couldn't eat properly anymore. And she didn't have any self-confidence. She would not smile. She was very unhappy. And she decided for the first time she was going to do something about it for herself. And we ended up kind of revamping the entire smile, taking out all the bad teeth, replacing them with new teeth, and she could chew and eat again. But what was great about it is that she now had the self-confidence to go out there and speak in the public, where she never used to do that before. She was always afraid to. And then she also had the self-confidence. Her husband was kind of checking out of the marriage a little bit, and that's kind of stimulated her to try and do something for herself. She had the self-confidence now to say to him, well, if you want to check out, that's fine. I'm a new person and I am confident in myself. And what's great? They worked the marriage out and they're still together, and they've been married for over 40 years. But it gave her that confidence in herself that she can stand up on her own 2 feet and she can have her own self-esteem back and just tell him that this is who I am. I am who I am, and that's it. And you either stay with me and we work it out, or I'm not going to stick with you anymore, which I thought was amazing. Yeah. That she could do that. Yeah. And it was just changing her smile. And this is a lady in her mid-60s.
Wow.
Wow. Right? It's just amazing how that, that little thing can spark a huge change in your life. I mean, people don't realize that it's, self-confidence, it's a huge thing, a huge thing, just being yourself and everything. And yeah, sometimes we have an issue, we have something we're self-conscious of, and we don't take care of it, and just like having it improves your life, like you were saying, not having it or letting something that bothers us keep deteriorating, pushing us down, it's so important to work on ourselves. I mean, it's people forget about that. they work on their kids, they work on their careers, they work on all these things, but they forget that they need to work on themselves, you know, and themselves physically and themselves mentally, and that's so important to be just for yourself, but for those around you.
Right. Yep. Yeah, because now she in herself was able to be there for her kids, her grandkids. You know, her relationship is different with them, and it's even better. So those are things that are really the most rewarding, because you actually change lives. Yeah. You know, it sounds cliche, it sounds whatever, trite or whatever, but you really do change lives.
Oh, yeah.
And some are big changes and some are smaller changes.
Yes.
But you really have a chance to impact somebody's life.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and when you can give a little bit of happiness to somebody, that happiness spreads. Yes. And that's exactly what you're telling us with the story, is she was able to be finally happy with herself.
Right.
So she was able to now spread that happiness to probably all areas of her life. And so that's awesome. I love stories like that. So that's so very cool. So doctor, I wanted to ask you this, and it was, you know, you've been a business owner for over a decade now, correct?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So and you know, I'm sure you've had the ups and downs of business, and you know, the obstacles and those things. So I always ask this question, and is, what advice would you give to those out there that are already business owners that might be thinking about quitting, or to those that have started and that are like a little lost?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question, because it covers a lot of things. And, you know, businesses go through ups and downs. Over the years, I've realized that, you know, you can get upset about the downs, but they're going to get better, because you're going to make them better at some point in time. So all businesses go through ups and downs. And I think the biggest thing is just persevering through it, and patience and, you know, just pushing and having the drive through it. But over time, I've realized, especially when you've been doing the business for a while, it all boils down to knowing what your purpose is in it. I think it boils down to that. What is your purpose? And through the purpose, you create your goals. Yeah. And for somebody starting out and is a little lost, it boils down to the same thing. Just figure out, why are you doing it? Not because you're doing it to make money, but what is the bigger picture of it? Because that's going to sustain you through all the ups and downs. If you just kind of figure out what is your purpose, and then create your goals from that, and realize, as you say, you just have to have the courage and push through it, and know that everybody else is going through the same thing at some point in time. You know, we all go through it, and we all struggle, but it does get better as long as you just do the right thing and do it for the right reason. It all gets better. I think that is what would sum it up the best.
Yeah, it's
right?
Exactly. Being a business owner, you know, having the patience and just sticking to your purpose and to your morals, and you know, not looking for the quick buck, you know, and not just and putting the customer first. You know, that's something you I mean, throughout this entire interview, you've made it very clear, you know, that it's about the customer. It's especially in a service business, right. You know, it's about the customer. It's about caring, and you know, that resonates. You know, yes. people see that, people understand that, and that's what gets you through the humps, you know. Right. Because I mean, people think, oh yeah, you know, and even here in Fort Lauderdale, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. It's, you know, sometimes I see the restaurants is a big example. You know, I see restaurants pop up, right? Yeah. And 3 months later they're gone. And I'm like, really? I mean, did you whoever opened that restaurant, I mean, did you really expect it to be successful in 3 months? You know, and I don't get it. It's you know, it takes years. It takes years and adding to it, yes. and struggles, and sometimes is the downs, and you know, you're I'm sure, just like all of us, sometimes you're at home and you're like, man, I mean,
Oh, I want to give it out. It would be simpler just to give it out.
It would be so much easier to just work at somebody else's dental office, and I don't have, some days, and I'm a computer engineer and I'm an entrepreneur, and sometimes I joke to my wife, it's like, man, so what wouldn't I do to be a plumber? With pipes, and that's it.
And the plumber would say, what would I do to be an engineer, right?
Exactly. But of course, you get over it. We all have our ups and downs, and you keep at it. You keep fighting.
Yeah, but you're right. I think the biggest thing also is just caring about that customer. But caring for the real reasons, truly caring about that customer. Doesn't mean you have to bend over backwards and be unreasonable, but really just truly caring from the bottom of your heart and trying to do the best for that person.
Yep.
I think, right.
Yep.
And what you said is so true. The purpose of what you're doing and enjoying that journey, right? Loving every minute of that journey, because there's really the end goal, you get it along the way, right?
Yes.
But many people, I think, they're focused so much in that end goal that they don't have the patience to see it through, because the journey has to be enjoyed and have passion for what you're doing every single day, right?
Yeah, and that's the struggle I had a couple of years ago. You always set your goals, you try and reach those goals, and then when you reach those goals, you're super excited, but then it's like, okay, well, what's the next goal? And then it's always, what's the next goal? And what's the next goal? And then you realize after many years is you don't enjoy it as much anymore, and then you kind of have to backtrack and think, well, forget about, yes, have goals, but forget about that end goal, that end number, right?
It's the journey, it's the journey.
Just enjoy it and enjoy the staff you work with, just enjoy the people you interact with. And that's kind of what I've had to come to a realization in the last couple of years, is years and years of trying to set things up the way you want it to be. And then you get there and it's sometimes not as great as you think it is, because you blow it up in your head. And then you realize, oh, well, maybe I should have just enjoyed the journey along the way, because as you say, you're going to get there at some point in time anyway.
And sometimes we forget about where we came from.
Yes.
You have this practice and you have a successful practice, but sometimes we forget about you, not being able to work in the US, not be and having to volunteer at the shelter, and stuff like that, and we forget about that. We forget, I bought this practice with one dental assistant and one staff member, and now I've been able to grow it this big, and sometimes we get frustrated and we're like, man, I'm not growing as much as I would have wanted to, or I'm not doing as much as I would have, but just that little reflection, and just be thankful of what of the little things we've accomplished, and also focusing on the things, on the people we've helped, and the people we've and the lives we've changed, because throughout the years I've seen, I've seen a big retention on your staff. I see a ton of people that work for you. They're here and they're happy and they're good friends of yours, I'm sure.
Right.
And it's just, we were even joking around before the interview, and there's just that environment, comes always from the top, from the leadership, and it's just how people are, how people react, how comfortable they feel working up somewhere, and that's a huge part of also the journey, like people, not only you enjoying what you do, but having that, bringing that to your staff as well, and then everybody is enjoying what they're doing and having fun, and because work doesn't have to suck, it doesn't, that whole thing, oh, I hate Monday, and and I'm like looking forward for Friday. It's not like that. You get to build 6 Saturdays and a Sunday, and you do that by enjoying what you like, and creating an environment that gives you that joy, Yeah,
you're right, 100% right. And it comes in the staff that you have and the people you employ, and then what you try and create is a friendship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doctor, I want to thank you. Thank you for spending your evening with us. I saw your staff members go home already.
They were hiding, man. They were hiding.
We had one here sitting next to you. He was setting up. He said, "Oh, this is my cue to go.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here."
Yeah, I mean, she sees me pulling out the laptop and the microphone. And she's like, "Dude, you have a microphone and everything."
Yeah, I think one of them army crawled behind you so that the camera wouldn't catch him, right? So we're so very thankful that you spent a few minutes with us and told us your story. I know that this story will help many people out there that are in business for themselves. I mean, it's a joy to talk to you, and hopefully I'll get to meet you in person very soon. I'll be in Florida.
When you come to the Spartan.
Yeah.
I'll come and say hi.
Before you know it, we're gonna get Charmaine doing a Spartan race.
My God, I don't know about that.
So Charmaine Award, and before you know it, we're gonna be doing Spartan races.
Hey, these guys, doctor, are very, very convincing. So over time, they're gonna start
raise you down,
chewing at that wall that you're creating to not do it, and eventually you're gonna say, "What the heck? Let's just go do it." Let's just go do it with the kids.
Convince us that it's great and we love it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then you'll be the one telling your patients, "Hey, you should do a Spartan race this week."
Now we should get a team together from the office.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. True story. I took a team here from my office to do a Spartan race in Breckenridge, and they all talk about it, right? Many of them obviously didn't show up, but the ones that showed up and they did it, it's a lifelong memory, huge team building exercise, and it's something that now they want their kids to do and stuff like that. Because it's that thing that and you know this as a business owner, you do things that you're not necessarily comfortable with, almost on a daily basis, and you push yourselves out of that comfort zone. So when you get people to do something that, man, they're terrified about, or that they thought that they never could do it, and then they realize, oh my God, I did that. This feeling of accomplishment, like dawns upon them, and they're like, oh my God, I'm good, right?
Yeah,
I can do things.
Yeah.
I can go win out there, and it's because they may be in an environment where they don't get those wins along the way. Which, I think we're so very blessed as entrepreneurs that, we fail a lot on the way to the wins, but those wins kind of carry us for a long time until the next one comes and the next one comes. And it's like, man, we live for this, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you. I know it won't be the last time that we have you here. Thank you. And looking forward to meet you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Good night.